would you describe yourself when you first uh came to me when we first had our like first call? What do you think were like your most pressing challenges, the things you were struggling with and dealing with that were kind of causing you the most, pain, discomfort, upset, intensity?
Well, my breakup for sure, and I was in such a low point of my life, probably the lowest point in my life. Like I said, I had just broken up with my ex-boyfriend, and 2 months after that, I had lost my dog who I've had over 10 years, and it was actually we lost it in a tragic, it drowned. It was a kind of we lost our dog in a tragic way, and you know, we gave up our apartment. I moved out. I moved back in with my family who I hadn't lived with because I had lived with my ex-boyfriend for over a year. And I honestly was just almost ready to give up. It was such a low point in my life, and I was desperate. But I kept asking the right questions, I think, in my head. Like I knew I was going through this for a reason. I knew it was the most painful thing. I felt it in my body, my nervous system. Like I was tired. My body was tired. My mind was tired. My spirit was tired. Everything was tired. I was just done. And but I knew I had to go through this pain. It wasn't just an emotional, spiritual pain. It was like I felt it in my body, and I think I've always felt that if you ask the right questions, like the universe will always answer.
Yeah.
And it's always been like that for me throughout my life path, since I was, through prayer or meditation or whatever it was, and I came across TikTok. TikTok was a huge lifeline for me. Kind of honestly, like I found great music. I found a lot of people I could relate with, and I found you, right? That's how I found you, and I contacted you, and when I was what that was what 3 4 months ago,
Yeah.
right? And wow, I don't want to say I'm surprised how much I've grown since then, because again, I know I had to go through that, and I think I'm still growing. I still have a lot of growth to do, a lot of growing to do, and but man, it's like day and night. I feel hopeful now. Uh, Before I felt like if I didn't have my ex back, I'm gonna die. Now it's like it's best that I don't have him now with me, because I know there's I know my soulmate is out there, someone that can teach me more than he ever taught me.
Mm.
Because he was really abusive. As you know, he was very. He taught me a lot about love for sure. I've never been loved by anyone the way he loved me, and the way I loved him, and it was intense. But also the abuse was pretty bad. That
Sounds like
I
he
probably
taught
should
you
have
a
left.
lot of what love is, but also what love isn't.
Right, exactly. And so now I know what I want and what I don't want. It's very clear to me, and I'm excited about life again. I've been meeting a lot of new people, and as I shared, I met someone new that I'm really excited about, and completely opposite from me, but also very different from my ex. Very chill person, very calm, and very easy going, and it's been very organic, like very easy to kind of talk to and text with, and I'm excited. I'm excited, and I've actually met quite a few people after we met. I kind of opened up to dating again, and I'm
Which is a huge step
wow,
after coming from such a
yeah,
toxic
oh yeah,
relationship. Really proud of
yeah,
you.
yeah, and I've had a lot of little mini relationships, and all of them have taught me a lot, and and I'm excited to see where things go. And it's been a spiritual journey. As you know, I'm really into spirituality, and I believe in the universe and the fifth dimension. I feel like we're evolving as human beings and spiritual beings. I feel like we're elevating the consciousness of the universe, and I feel like I'm going through this to help not just heal myself, to help heal the universe, the world, and I just feel like I need to do this work to be able to heal, and kind of come out the other end in ways that probably I can't even imagine, you know. So I'm really excited about that, and I know it's, I've learned to love myself, like I shared earlier, right? I feel like now I feel like I'm 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 learning still to love myself and
What does that look
how to
like for
take care
you?
of myself.
I feel like that's a pretty
Yeah,
deep and powerful question that I think a lot of people who are going
yeah.
to watch this short little testimonial might benefit from. What does loving yourself look like? What does that mean to you now that you've kind of come through this 3 month, coaching journey with me? Like, what are your new revelations about loving yourself? How do you define that? What does that mean to you? What does that look like?
Well, one of the things I started doing a lot was kind of having these meditative sessions, right? That you kind of help kind of guide me through. You've given me different exercises, and I'm still doing them. I do them every day, you know, and basically what I call it is connecting to source, connecting to God, whatever you want to call it. I don't like calling it God because I think there's so many concepts surrounding
Sure.
that word. So I use that. I like using the word source, and I just feel like I'm learning how to receive, and then I realize that's coming from in me, that
Mm.
it's all of us have source within us, and connecting to that, learning how to, center ourselves so that we can become the people that we are truly meant to be. Like, I think is really, and it's work. It's something that I've been learning how to do every day, and and I'm learning that it's not just something you do in the morning once a day, but it's something you can keep doing while you're driving your car, washing the dishes, whatever it is, and I think if you can learn how to center yourself, you really don't need anything else. You don't need a book. You don't need
A relationship?
lover, relationship, whatever. You can just, it's all inside of you, and then you really can learn how to. Well, I mean, when you learn how to love yourself, you can also learn how to love others.
Mm.
And I think right now that's what's lacking in the world right now. People don't know how to love themselves. People don't know how to love each other. There's so much conflict, right? And if we can learn first to learn how to love ourselves, there's so much healing that can happen, I think, if we all learn how to love ourselves. And I think that's been the biggest part of this whole journey, I think. Learning how to take care of myself, even physically, like trying to eat the right foods. I'm still, like, again, working on that. But I think I'm getting better and better, and exercising as well, and but also mentally, emotionally, you know.
Caring more about your overall well-being.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
taking
incredible,
care of
Jess.
yourself. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's been quite a journey, and I really appreciate everything you've done for me. I know this is our last session, and I've been prepping for it because I know we've been through a lot, and but it's been a beautiful journey. I'm really grateful for it because, yeah, I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot, and I'm grateful.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I too am also grateful. Thank you for letting me be a guest, a supporting figure
yeah,
in your journey, going through, you know, some horrible abuse and treatment, and sharing a little bit about, you know, how you grew up and the things you've dealt with and gone through, and giving me the opportunity to share some of the things that helped me get through similar situations so that, you know, you're not in as much pain. And thank you for being open and receptive to using these things and continually using these things, these tools, these mindsets to help empower yourself, because not only do you have a better quality of life, which makes me significantly happy, but also you're moving throughout
yeah,
the world, and, you know, like your job, your work, you know, at like the school, for instance, you're bringing that energy to all the kids, you're bringing that energy to your family. It's a domino effect. So thank you for being somebody that is for love, you know, for growth,
mhm,
for empowerment, because that's what's going to start to slowly, you know, stem the tide of abuse and trauma, and just continually passing this stuff on to like everybody we date. Like people like you are the ones that put a stop to that and really start breaking the cycle of trauma and dysfunction. So I too am grateful. Thank you.
yeah, yeah. You're welcome. Yeah,
That's a good place to end it.
yeah.